Bom dia and welcome along to the Algarve, to Portimão in Portugal for stage 4 of the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge Brazil from the Autódromo Internacional do Algarve in the southern part of this wonderful nation. And welcome along everyone to motorsport.tv for live coverage of timed qualifying for the Carrera Cup and the Sprint Challenge. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, taking you through all the action as our first set of qualification is very much underway. And with it, we do have quite a lot of wonderful machinery. Flat six, boxer engines, with our top tier categories running in the current 992 generation of the Porsche Carrera Cup car, which produces 510 brake horsepower. Some of our first drivers are currently out on circuit, and it's Silvio Moristoni in the rookie classification, of which we have 7 drivers. Moristoni currently second in the standings coming into this 4th round of the season. And what's more, it's 12 years since this championship, partnering with title sponsor C6 Bank, have ventured to the Algarve back in 2012 and 2013. And of course, the Porsche Cup Brasil celebrating its 20th anniversary here in 2025. So as you can see, a lot of elevation changes as we keep an eye on the number 12. That's Marco Pisani, going all the way down into turns 12 and 13. And then it's going to be up the hill into Sagres at 14 before running down through the very fast right-hander at turn 15. That brings us onto a slight elevation change, going up the dip through Galp. As you can see by the wonderful drone shots at the moment, that Moristoni, the number 2 car, currently second in the standings at the moment in terms of the Carrera rookie side of things. Leonardo Sanchez, the number 15, who currently leads the standings by 15 points, not here this weekend in Portimão. And Moristoni with the 1:47.275 is nearly 2.9 seconds quicker than Marco Pisani. Now that's changed because Bruno Campos, the number 33, is currently 6th in the standings on around about 50. Well, it's showing 55 points at the moment. Some of the drivers not here this weekend will include Edu Guedes, Leonardo Sanchez, who are both respectively 3rd and 1st in the standings. So each of the sessions will comprise for not just the Carrera Rookie, Sport and Carrera drivers, but also for the Challenge drivers as well. And with that, with regards to the Challenge drivers, they'll be running in the previous generation 991.2 911 GT3 Cup cars, which produce 485 brake horsepower. So Marco Pisani has lost 2 lap times, basically for track limits at Galp at turn 15. As you can see, going through this very sweeping upward left-hander through Craig Jones before heading into Portimão. That is the number 2 car of Moristoni, who has really been putting in a great performance in this qualifying session so far. We're coming down to the last 5.5 minutes. There will be a top 10 shootout, which will help to decide the grid for race number 1, which will be a little bit later on today. That'll start at 20 to 6 local time. So the Portuguese being on the same as the United Kingdom, so effectively put that as British summertime as your in your calendars, or UTC plus 1 hour. There's the number 25 of Paulo Souza, 4th in the standings on 41 points, according to the information I have to hand. Loving the Brazilian colours of the yellow and bright green as Souza makes his way down into the hard braking zone, into the left-hander, which goes uphill through here at Torre Vip. But Moristoni leads the way. Eduardo Inossi due to take part in this session has apparently gone into the pit lane and looks to have possibly been excluded from the session for some reason or another. Not 100% sure why, but you look at the speed that Paulo Sousa carrying through into turns 10 and 11 at Portimão. And now the number 99 of Wagner Pointers loses his lap time, drops the number 99 down to 4th position. So Paulo Sousa now up to P3. It's more of a case of technicality here at Portimão. I had the opportunity myself to be here in person for the opening round of the Porsche Sport Challenge Suisse. High elevation, the abrasiveness of the circuit is not going to be the biggest factor that the drivers are going to have to contend with. As I would imagine that's probably Eduardo Menossi going back into the pit lane. So Silvio Moristoni fastest out there, Bruno Campos in the number 33 and Paulo Sousa in the 25. They round out your top 3. Well, that was until there is the cheetah print car or leopard print car of Marco Pisani. New fastest lap in the session by Silvio Moristoni, but Bruno Campos there in the number 33 down the dip into Primera at turn 1. And lock up under brakes by Moristoni, trying to get it kept straight before turning right into Lagos, before up a slight dip here into turn 4. Then you really go accelerating quite hard out of turn 4, and then it's the long run down to Torrevit, but you've got a downhill descent to deal with. Campos' car a little bit twitchy under braking. Negotiates Torrevit rather nicely. Then into 6 and 7. So a quick left-hand kink before into turn 7. Then you've got to be very measured on your braking application here into Samsung. You've got to be very, very careful of track limits for Bruno Campos at the moment. 34.1 in the opening sector. And quite a bit slower. The best part of 6/10 off of Moristoni. This is in the Carrera rookie classification. Coming down to the final 2 minutes. Moristoni at the minute looking to try and see if he can get a maximum points haul this weekend to overtake Leonardo Sanchez in the rookie classification. There are 2 races, 25 minutes plus an additional lap. 1 today and then 1 tomorrow. And then we'll, after that, after all is said and done this weekend, the next stage will be the first of the endurance races in 2025, and that will take place here at Portimão, funnily enough, in just over a week's time. Bit of a run wide there by the number 12 of Marco Pisani. So, all drivers apart from the excluded Eduardo Menossi have set a lap time, but Bruno Campos trying to do his utmost to close on in. Moristoni, just under 60 seconds to go on the timer, has now pitted and has decided, no, I'm not gonna try and extract the maximum out of the Michelin tyres that these cars are traditionally shod with. Of course, Porsche Motorsport Customer Racing having over 35 global championships. And lap times being lost. Marco Pisani is at the mercy of the race officials at the moment. The number 12 has been demoted to 5th place, having lost his 7th lap here in qualifying. So it's going to be a big push for the number 12. And, well, this time Wagner Pointers has also lost a lap time, as we will conclude the session in a matter of seconds. Checkered flag will be out this time. And there we go, a nice little bit of that is what you call friendship in the pit lane. That is absolutely brilliant to see. And I'm sure that Silvio Moristoni celebrating pole position here at Portimão for race 1. There is going to be a pick a number out of a hat situation for race 2, as our sport drivers are about to get out onto the circuit for their 12-minute qualifying session. Is the number 25, Paulo Sousa. A lot of drivers being penalised by race control for track limits at turn 7, which is heading into Samsung, but the last efforts are being put in, especially by the number 25 Paulo Sousa, who at one point was running P3 in the session, but that is very much saying to me a cool down lap. So Silvio Moristoni with a 1 minute 47.243. And there you see the man himself, very tall stature of an individual. I've been keeping an eye on what has been going on in the paddock So if you want to follow the championship on Instagram, it's at Porsche Cup Brasil. So it's all lowercase, all one word, and it's been really, really good to see the amount of drivers that have really been saying that they are loving the track. You know, you've had some great racing here in the Porsche Cup Brasil since 2012, 2013, the same year that the actual championship went to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. Some people might call it a stone's throw, but it isn't quite a stone's throw. I mean, Spain might be neighbouring Portugal, but what a way to kick-start the qualification here for stage 4 of the season. Of course, the championship will conclude in terms of the sprint side of things at the Autódromo José Carlos Pachi in Interlagos, as we will very shortly be getting underway. Looks like our first driver, well, that's Flavio Sampaio in the rookie side of things, but they can have their classification changed depending on what they're going to be doing. So Eduardo Manossi not having a great start to the weekend. So the sprint season will conclude on the 8th and the 9th of November, and then a week 2 weeks later, there you go, Silvio Moristoni takes pole position for Carrera Rookie by a huge margin over Bruno Campos, nearly the best part of 1.6 seconds. Flavio Sampaio, Wagner Pontes, Marco Pisani, Paulo Sousa all put times on the boards, covered by just over 2 3/4 seconds. Eduardo Manossi in the number 85, unfortunately excluded from the session itself. But Moristoni was on an absolute flyer around here at the Autódromo Internacional do Algarve. Around about an hour and 15 minutes drive from Faro International Airport. If you fly into Lisbon, it's about 3.5 hours. But it's a wonderful place in the world. Temperatures are very, very heavily so I think there might be a further change in the rookies, because I've just seen that Flavio Sampaio is going to lose his best lap time, but there is Silvio Moristoni. Just the thumbs up to the camera. Great to see the number 2. He's in good spirits here in Portugal. And as you can see, it is baking hot. We're deep in the middle of summer here in the Algarve. A wonderful facility. And we are going to see some fantastic racing. So there we go. That just basically means that number 11 has lost his fastest lap time in the session, but still retains P3 according to the live timing. That's an official notification from the Direção de Prova, which is basically race control, as we are going to have our next few drivers. Up next is going to be the Carrera Sport category. And well, all of the Carrera drivers running in the 992, the current generation of what you see globally, Mobil 1 Super Cup taking place this weekend at the Red Bull Ring, accompanying Formula 1. So the green flag flies, and we are seeing that the sessions are being extended. Normally 12 minutes per session, but based on the fact that this is the first time in 12 years that the series has headed over to the Algarve, not at all surprised that those have been extended. Alceo Feldman leads the way, but is not here this weekend in the number 1 car, currently on 68 points. Lineo Perez and Seba Malucelli round out the top 3, both on 42, the latter 2 being on 42 points apiece. Josimar Jr. on 39, Nelson Marcondes, Israel Salman, Alceo Feldman Neto, the son of Alceo Feldman, also running here this weekend, rounding out the top 7. It's very, very closely packed in the Carrera Sport class. So we're going to have a total of 16 possibly drivers here this weekend. So Carlos Campos, Marcos Regaras, Miguel Mariotti, Gustavo Zanon, Josima Jr., Rodrigo Melo, Christian Moore, Francisco Horta, Roman Zimkiewicz, amongst others. So hold on to your hats, because we are really going to be ramping up the pace. Of course, there is the Carrera division still to come, with the likes of Thiago Vivacqua, Christian Hahn, Mateus Comparato, Marcel Müller, the defending champion. They will be out last. So the drivers getting up to speed. Nelson Marcondes in the 199 leading the train down the start-finish straight. We've got a discussion here in the pit lane. As I said, it's a wonderful facility here at Portimão, and it's quite a young facility as well. It's only been in operation for just over a decade and a half. It first opened in October of 2008. 15 turns, runs anti-clockwise, and has a length of just under 4.6 kilometers. But there is plenty of opportunity for the drivers to stretch the legs on these naturally aspirated 4-litre flat 6 boxer engines, producing 510 brake horsepower, paddle shift operated sequential 6-speed transmission. But with Porsches, as always, the 911 is the effective son of the one of the most beloved cars in not just the globe, but also South America, the Volkswagen Beetle, the people's car. So number 80 has just lost, that's Zimkiewicz, that has just lost a first lap in qualifying due to track limits at turn 1, Primera. So it is going to be a couple of minutes or two before we have a couple of laps, as Nelson Monteiro will also lose his first lap in the session. So all 16 drivers now out on circuit, and it's going to be a case of there is going to be an improvement, I would imagine, on Silvio Moristoni's 147 243, as the drivers will be hitting north of 240 plus kilometers now down the start finish straight in top gear. So at the moment, Nelson Marcondes with a 155.1, pretty much a benchmark lap, to be completely truthful. As you see the deep metallic navy blue with a baby blue on that car, wonderful livery. Then there is the number 51, Israel Salman. And at the moment, Nelson Monteiro goes top of the time sheets, as there you see a wonderful shot. That will be of Torre Vip at turn 5 by the drone that we've got here at the circuit. So the lap times slowly but surely filtering in. The ideal lap time at the moment showing us a 146.8, but at the moment we are going to start ramping up the ante, not just here in Carrera Sport, but then also into the top tier class. But Israel Salman trying to do his utmost to get number 51 a little bit quicker through the session itself. But across the board, Silvio Moristoni having the best lap time out of anybody. It was purple across the board of 1:47.243. So there are going to be some improvements, but at the meantime, because the track is going to get hotter, I mean, it's early in the morning here. It's nearly 10:30 a.m. Portuguese time. So Brazil being 4 hours behind. Car 87, Nelson Monteiro, has again lost another lap in qualifying. This time, once again, it's Primeira, turn 1, that's caused the problem. But then Miguel Mariotti goes up to second, and I think he's just lost the lap time. Nelson Monteiro up to P2 overall, 1.3 seconds behind Silvio Morestroni. But then Monteiro loses a lap time again. Track limits lap 1. So the drivers are really, really pushing hard. But Morestroni kept it clean in his lap time. Oh, and a bit of a spin. That is for the number 14 of Carlos Campos, I'm afraid. That's not exactly what you want your Porsche 992 GT3 Cup car to be doing. And here is the number 77, Chico Horta. Be very loving the livery on Chico Horta's car there. It's got an octopus on the front, but going to have a replay now. Now this is Carlos Campos, turns it in. And that is not what you want to do coming out of turn 3 at Lagos. Carlos Campos manages to point it in the right way. Again, lap times are being deleted left, right and centre. But it's Christian Moore, the number 30, who is has got to within half a second of Morestroni at the moment. There's the number 100, Seba Malucelli, currently P3 in the standings in the Carrera Sport division. And it is going to be a case of Christian Moore at this point is looking very, very racy in the number 30. His fastest lap time in 1:47.247. Mariotti goes top. Mariotti goes top by 0.119 of a second. But the jury might not be out on that one. Mariotti's had a couple of lap times deleted due to track limits infringements. Is that going to stay at the moment? Yes. And the number 29 has also had a lap time deleted. Rodrigo Melo. Roman Zimkiewicz yet to have any one of his 3 lap times completed in terms of not going off track. So Mariotti in the number 21 goes top of the timesheets, 8th in the standings at the moment on 33 points. And gets a lot of speed going through that section of the circuit. He's going to be going down the hill that would have been coming through out of Samsung, and Mariotti has lost his 4th lap time. 10:29. So Mariotti has just been it's just been shown to me via the and it's happening. Malucelli, it's not Malucelli. That's the number 30. My apologies there. Christian Moore, who is absolutely flying. But at the moment, it is still showing that Miguel Mariotti is leading the way. Silvio Morestroni for the rookie division, currently P2. Alceo Feldman Neto, currently P3. And look at the spread. It's Christian Moore and Israel Salman rounding out your top 5, covered by 9/10 overall. And Alceo Feldman Neto, the son of Alceo Feldman, rounding out the top 3, running in the Lightning McQueen Rusty's tribute livery. And needs to make some moves up the order. Currently on 35 points, 7th in the championship standings, coming into this stage of the season. Of course, the opening 4 rounds, including this one. Neto has just had his lap time deleted. Track limits at Primeira, turn 1. A lot of things going on. Race control have got their hands full. They've got eyeballs on stalks at the minute. But at the moment, Miguel Mariotti leading the way. Christian Moore's going to lose another lap time, it looks like. Track limits at turn 5 at Torrevieja. There is actually a possibility that some drivers will go across outside of things. And number 14 loses a lap time, Carlos Campos. Here comes Felman Neto across the line here at Portimão. And that is 1:48.001 for the number 95. 3 3/4 minutes left to go in the session. So after this, we will have another 7 cars out on the circuit, a total of 30 taking part in the Carrera Cup Brasil. And we'll have the Sprint Challenge Brasil qualifying a little bit later on this morning. But more to the point, it is a case of putting your best foot forward. And now the top 10 covered by 1 second. Francisco Horta, the number 77, is 10th at the moment, as Felman Neto again trying to keep the number 95 on track. It's a very, very difficult circuit, because when you're having to deal with a lot of changes, and Felman Neto is going to lose another lap time in terms of track limits, this time at turn 4. That's coming out of Lagos and into the left hand that means you accelerate coming out in towards Torrevieja. A few of the drivers still moving up the order. Ninel Perez currently showing us 15th at the moment, 1.7 seconds off of the mighty lap from Miguel Mariotti. There's a few other drivers, including Josimar Jr. and the number 17 of Marcos Regadas, who's just gone purple in Sector 2 and has put the car 6th at the moment. So 2 minutes to go until the qualifying session for the Carrera Sport class conclude their qualifying session. Then we'll have the top 10 shootout. But Moristoni does have a distinct chance to put his number 2 car on a potential pole position for race 1 at 20 to 6 local time here in Portugal. That's UTC +1. You'll be able to catch race 1 and race 2 over the course of the weekend here live on motorsport.tv. But the seconds keep on counting down. The entirety of the 22 strong field that have put in lap times, not including that does not include the number 85 of Eduardo Minardi, are covered by just under 2.9 seconds. So change. Francisco Horta is going to go up to 8th. Good effort there by the number 77, 1:47.990. Rodrigo Melo up now currently 12th on a 1:48.215. Improvements from Marcos Regadas in the number 17, who's gone P6. So there's going to be an opportunity to maybe get one more lap in here. The other changes. Josimar Jr. Now goes 11th on a 1:48.139. Rodrigo Melo up ahead of Gustavo Zanon, and that is for 12th, as the number 17 of Regadas trying to pilot the Infiniox Porsche around the circuit as hard as possible. Looks like Carlos Campos is not going to be, well, he's not flavour of the month either. A lot of drivers are under the ruling arm. Oh, bit sideways there through Torrevieja for Regadas. That is not what you want. I think there was a little bit of too early application of power for the number 17. He is wrestling with that car. Francisco Horta is going to lose, well, he's going to have his 6th lap in qualifying deleted due to track limits at Primera at turn 1. That's it. It's turn 1 and turn 4 and turn 15 that seem to be catching a lot of drivers out. as we are coming towards the end. We have concluded the Carrera Sport classification. That car from Regatas is so sketchy at the back end. No wonder he's backed out of the lap. But I think maybe those Michelins might have fallen a little bit off a cliff, or maybe there's a little bit of a setup imbalance for Regatas. But now going into the top tier of the Carrera Cup, it will be the Carrera division. So we've already done Rookie, we've already done Sport, we're now going into Carrera, and Christian Moore having a discussion with the team for the number 30, places 7th in that session overall, as the remainder of the drivers from the Rookie classification will make their way into pit lane. That will include AO Felmaneto, Seba Malucelli, amongst others. So now we get to the real meaty part of this qualifying session. Of course, the current defending champion is none other than Marcel Müller. But when you've got the likes of Miguel Paludo leading the standings on 132 points coming into this 4th stage of the season, 24 ahead of Christian Hahn, Thiago Vivacqua in the number 10 car, 98 points. Cecil Feldman not here this weekend, will drop a little bit further down the order, and then you'll have Matheus Camporato rounding out the top 5 of the standings. But it's all changed at the top end, because the Carrera Sport driver of Miguel Mariotti now is your provisional top driver, and there is your top 10, covered by 9/10 of a second. Expect the pecking order to change in the next session before our top 10 drivers go on to the pole position shootout after this session. Wagner Pointers rounding out the top 20, covered by 2.5 seconds at this point in qualifying. So Silvio Moristoni is definitely, I think, in with a shout. Eduardo Menossi, the only driver to have been disqualified from the session. So maybe too many track limit infringements, or there was something that caught the eyes of the race officials. But it is Miguel Mariotti that was the one that really started pushing quite early in the session. And as the track temperature starts to climb here in Portimão, it is going to be a tall order. Obviously, with hotter conditions, track abrasiveness is not going to be that high. As I said, it is a fairly new circuit one, and it's I mean, I've had the opportunity to, as I said, see Porsche Cup Swiss host their first round of the championship. They've been here for 2 seasons now. It's a track that drivers really love, and plenty of the drive. I mean, if those that have had a look on the Porsche Carrera Cup Brazil website, well, a lot of drivers, more than one. The article basically says more than one driver compared the feeling of riding in the Algarve with the experience of riding a roller coaster. And Marcel Müller is saying that, first of all, I'm really happy to be here. Another circuit I don't know, and I'm taking part. It's very technical. We have to take good care of track limits, and it's an excellent layout. And you know, when they did their first bit of practice, funnily enough, back on Thursday of this week, you know, it's very positive, and you know, they need to sort of find out how to improve. You know, and Geração Campos even saying that it's extremely technical and it's a challenging stage of the championship. You need to have a lot of courage, or as I like to say, intestinal fortitude, which basically means guts, to drive. And he said it even reminded me of times of motorcycle speed. As we get underway with the Carrera side of things for Carrera Cup Brasil, bought Stage 4 for 2025. The official title sponsor, C6 Bank, continuing their supporting what is 2 decades of this fantastic series. Now it is going to be the case of what can Thiago Vivacqua do. And this gives an opportunity for Miguel Paludo, Christian Hahn, and Thiago Vivacqua to try and move away from Aseo Feldman, Matheus Comparato. Of course, it is going to be very, very difficult for one particular individual. And it is going to be Marcelo Müller in the 544. He's got a big, big mountain to climb as the current reigning and defending champion. Of course, looking back over years past, Israel Salman was the Carrera Rookie champion last year. Peter Ferter was the winner in Carrera Sport. Of course, some of those that have enjoyed over the past few seasons the Stock Car Pro Series over on motorsport.tv. Quite a few drivers have raced in this, including the likes of Tricampeon Gabriel Casagrange, the defending champion from Matthias Vogel, Nelson Piquet Jr., Rubens Barrichello, along with Werner Neugebauer, who's moved on to warmer climates in terms of racing, won the Carrera Cup Endurance Championship challenge last year, which also saw a returning Tony Kanaan having his arm twisted to come out of retirement and have to get clearance from Zach Brown, of all people, considering Tony these days now the sporting director at Arrow McLaren in IndyCar. Enzo Elias, 2021. Attila Abreu, Carrera 3.8 champion from 2019 also. There's just a whole list of drivers that have been part and parcel of this championship. And Enzo Elias, as Antonella Bassani, one of the lady drivers that we've got. It's great to see drivers such as this, of these calibers. Yeah, she's another young driver that has been picked up through, and it's not just Brazilian motorsports, especially when you have the likes of the Iron Dames. One of the drivers currently running in Porsche Carrera Cup France as a junior driver, but also took a win at the Red Bull Ring a handful of weeks ago. Karen Gaia, another fast female racer, and of course Iron Dames having a great association with Porsche. Of course, the likes of Celia Martin, Rahul Fry, Sarah Bovy, and of course get well soon to Michelle Gatting, who unfortunately due to a pit lane incident fractured her right ankle and is on the mend, so we wish her all the very, very best in her recovery. But this is where you get the full roar. Listen to that flat six boxer engine of Bassani come across the line. Bassani. So again, we are going to see quite a few attempts here, and it is about keeping it neat and tidy around this circuit. That is going to be crucial. And I'm going to go back to Gaston Campos's, like saying, if you have too much courage, if you lack the technique, it doesn't work early. It doesn't work. You've got to compromise. And that's the thing about this circuit here at Portimão. It bites. I remember seeing a particular 991.2 GT3R going through Craig Jones at turn 9 and losing the back end at over 230 kilometers an hour. That is not something you want to do here at Portimão. You do not want to have a moment. Carlos Campos did experience said moment coming out of turn number 3. But Bassani, she was the first one out on track. Lucas Salles, Thiago Vivacqua, Matheus Comparato, they've all set benchmark lap times. Whereas Marcel Müller, Miguel Paludo and Christian Hahn yet to complete a full lap of the near 4.6 kilometre circuit, as Antonella Bassani is going to come out of Galp at high speed. There's the number 72. You can see the dampers of the suspension working hard to keep the car compliant through the fast right-hander at turn number 15 at Galp. Bassani across the line and goes P2 instantly. 147, 132, 8/1000 straight away. Bassani on the pace. Here comes Christian Hahn. Where does Christian Hahn place? Well, that point 27th, but Thiago Vivacqua straight away goes in to P7 on a 147.665. But Antonella Bassani, that was an absolutely awesome lap from the young lady in the number 72. I'm really, really excited. You know what? Because I've got a feeling that the two races here is going to be an absolute classic here at Portimão. We had great racing back in 2013. There have been multiple different winners at the circuit here at Portimão, and you can just feel this anticipation. And Lucas Sales up to P5, 147.596. But Bassani's first lap was absolutely mighty. I think Miguel Mariotti was like saying, what's going on here? You know. I mean, the thing is that the drivers are going to be dealing with a lot of lateral force, and also, you know, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the brakes. There's the Blau liveried number 26, Christian Hahn at the moment, currently in 27th. Can he improve? That car is absolutely flying towards the line. Christian Hahn goes in 151.833. So is building. So in the Carrera category, we've had 4 different winners from the 4 respective sprint races held in 2012 and 2013. Tom Valle, Clemente Lunardi, Riccardo Rosset and Fabio Viscardi. Those are the 4 drivers that have done very, very well indeed. Riccardo Rosset, a previous Porsche Brazil champion. But now, Vivacqua and Sales, oh my goodness me, we've got a real fight on our hands for the top spot in this session. Vivacqua P3, 32 thousandths behind Antonella Bassani. Lucas Sales a further 4/1000ths back. Now it is game on. There is the number 70 of Lucas Sales running in that deep British racing green with bright orange flecks, including the big racing stripe down the centre. And the first and last sectors set by Miguel Mariotti. Antonella Bassani on her opening lap went 8/1000ths slower. That just goes to show that there'll be one driver that will come flying out of the gates. There is Marcel Müller, the defending champion, and is going to have to really, really fight tooth and nail. Also, it is just the Carrera Cup and the Sprint Challenge here this weekend. The Sprint Trophy Brasil will be alongside the Endurance in just over a week's time. Marcel Müller straight out of the bag. That is the top time, and he's beaten Mariotti by a country mile. That is the only driver to go on to a 146.792. Here goes Miguel Paludo. Paludo down in 14th, won't make the top 10 at this rate. And you can see the suspension and the shock absorbers working overtime. as the number 14, the number 7 made it through Primera. But Marcel Müller straight away showcasing why he is the defending champion. Also won the Carrera Cup, the Carrera 4.0 category back in 2019 in the 3.8s that year. Vitor Baptista took the win, took the title. Werner Neugebauer also took the Carrera 4.0. It changed to Carrera Cup and Carrera Sport, with Miguel Paludo becoming the two-time champion under the newly named Carrera Cup division. But Miguel Paludo, how's he doing at the moment? Improves, not quite quickest to the first sector, but he's quicker than Müller in sector 2. This could be a very, very quick lap for the number 7 Porsche. So at the moment, I would say he's probably about 2.5 tenths off, which will put him on a 140. I'd probably say a high 146.9. Let's find out. He flashes the headlights as Paludo across the line and goes. Where does he go on that one? Miguel Paludo. Oh, 6th. So from 14th to 6th position, and he lost another 2 and a bit tenths of a second in sector 3. Okay, so that just goes to show how quickly you can have a really, really good opening lap, and then you can start the session really, really well, but then from that you can have a bit of a disaster in the third and final sector. Looks like he's cooling things down. It's the top 10 rounded out by the 118 of Carrera Cup driver Matheus Comparato in the 118 or 147.604. Seba Malucelli. So we're coming down to the final 5 minutes and 40 seconds. And Silvio Moristoni, technical issues my side. So Silvio Moristoni has the lap time to chase. 1 minute 50.330. Alceo Felmaneto currently P2, 152.037, but that has now been beaten. Comparato goes in with a 150.034. Lucas Sales now goes purple in sector 1. Here's Marcel Müller. Goes in with a very leisurely 2 minute 4, but he's weaving to get some more temperature in those Michelin tyres. So now Mariotti goes purple sector 2, Sales purple sector 1. Right, number 21 is going to lose their second lap in qualifying. So despite the best efforts of Miguel Mariotti, race control have pinged him for track limits at turn 1. So this lap will not count. There is Miguel Paludo in the number 7 car, currently sitting down in 9th place. Vivacqua goes purple sector 1. But there's got to be some improvements over the next 3 minutes and 45 seconds. It's going to come down to who is the fastest overall and will take pole position for race number 1 later on today. José Fermanito flashing the headlights on the number 95 Lightning McQueen tribute band car. And there is Miguel Mariotti. Unfortunately, his second lap being disallowed due to track limits at turn 1. You've got to make that compromise here at Portimão, and that is quite crucial. So, Matheus Comparato, 147.220. And Miguel Paludo goes up to P5 as Alceo Felmaneto. Antonella Bassani, I knew she might be waiting, and the 72 puts in a 147.199. But that's instantly bettered by Thiago Vivacqua, who goes nearly 2/10 quicker in the number 10 at 147.021. But Antonella Bassani, what a lap from her. Matheus Comparato rounds out your top 3, and he's only 21 thousandths slower than Bassani. This is where qualifying gets exciting. There is the number 70 of Lucas Salas, who's going to lose his third lap in qualifying. Track limits, turn 1. And that is Miguel Mariotti. Silvio Moristoni doing a sterling job in P6 as Mariotti is going to cross the line. Goes top, 146.869. It's game on for pole position. And don't worry about the bonnets on the number 70 flapping up and down. Lucas Salas is, it does sometimes happen when you're picking up a lot of speed. But there will be a little bit of an air, there's a little bit of a gap. You've got a weather strip, and then you've got the leading edge of the bonnet. And sometimes, dependent on high speed, that will sometimes look like it's deforming. Christian Hahn went quickest, and his lap time has just been disallowed. Yes, it has. Marcel Müller has gone purple sector 1 and has gone top, and he's gone quicker than his previous lap time. Marcel Müller has responded to Miguel Paludo on cue with just over a minute remaining on the clock, a 146.656 by the defending Carrera Cup champion. Brilliant stuff there by Marcel Müller. Miguel Mariotti in the sport class, also doing a sterling job, currently P3, and it is so competitive. Silvio Moristoni was P4 at one point in the session, now runs P8, but still, for the number 2, he's done a sterling job. Here is Bassani having to negotiate her way around the outside of Paludo, who slows going through into Torrevip. Now, what does Bassani have in the tank? She's just done a 33.5, so she is about a 10.5 away from Marcel Muller's best opening sector. And she's slightly down in sector 2, but she's got to be quicker than this. She's got to be quicker than this. The time has hit 0. This is Bassioni's final chance to hopefully get into the top 3. If she could go through and rip through sector 3 like no tomorrow, she's got an opportunity. But Thiago Vivacqua, opening sector purple, fractioning off of Marcel Muller's time in sector 2. It's going to be nip and tuck. Thiago Vivacqua out of gout for the final time. Will the number 10 make it through to pole position here for race 1 of stage 4? Vivacqua, no, goes 10, stays in P5. Bassani opts to pit early, and her lap time does not get her up into the top 5. What's more, she's demoted to 6th position. And Marcel Muller knew, I bet you he knew that he was going to be at the top of the timesheets, but by next to nothing, despite Christian Hahn's best efforts in that 3rd and final sector. He went purple, and it was not, and there it is, there's the celebration of the thumbs up. Marcel Muller takes pole position for Carrera Cup Brasil 2025, stage 4, race number 1, but by next to nothing. And I'm just hearing that Miguel Mariotti is going to lose a lap time. Mateus Comparato is going to lose a lap time. But your top 10 shootout for Porsche Carrera Cup Brasil is at an end. And it's the defending champion, the 544 of Marcel Muller, that takes pole by 23 thousandths of a second. The top 3 covered by 69 thousandths of a second, as the Carrera Sport driver, number 21, Miguel Mariotti, takes P3, 69 thousandths behind. Miguel Paludo, Thiago Vivacqua round out your top 5, covered by just under 2 tenths. Antonella Bassani, there is still more to come from the number 72, as you see the drone actually being captured by our trackside camera there. Great work there. But Bassani is going to be one to watch in the race this afternoon at 22.6 Portuguese time here in Portimão. Mateus Comparato, Lucas Salles, Silvio Moristoni doing a sterling job, ending up P9 ahead of Alceu Fermaneto, and that is the man that puts it on pole position, the defending champion. But, well, what can you say about that? So, pole position in the respective categories: Marcel Muller in Carrera Cup, Miguel Mariotti in Sport, and Silvio Moristoni in Rookie. But they all made it into the top 10 shootout. So, 30 cars on the grid here for the Carrera Cup Brasil. Now we move our attention over to Sprint Challenge Brasil here at the Autódromo Internacional do Algarve in Portimão in southern Portugal. And a warm welcome to all our viewers that have just joined us on motorsport.tv. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, taking you through all the respective classifications for qualifying 22 drivers here this weekend for Sprint Challenge. Herveton Cardoso, the number 36, not here this weekend. But the battle with regards to the Sprint Challenge Sport side of things, well, Sprint Challenge itself, it is being led by Caio Chaves with Gelson Campos, Leonardo Herman, Lucas Locatelli, Sadak Leite, and Caio Castro rounding out the top 6. The top 5 currently in the the only 5 drivers north of 100 points, but seeing just some of the highlights here. Marcel Müller, the defending 2024 Porsche Carrera Cup Brasil champion, on fine form here in qualifying. So now we get underway with our first of Sprint Challenge Brazil action here at Portimão. And it is going to be, first of all, Challenge Rookie that are going to be heading out onto the circuit. And Daniel Neumann in the number 21 is leading by 26 points coming into this round of the season. He's ahead of Claudio Reina in the number 9 with Fernando Arruda rounding out the top 3 positions in the standings. There's the very colourful number 99 car of Claudio Reina. So it is going to be 15 minutes per session. So now that the Carrera Cup Brasil drivers can have a little bit of respite, have some lunch and some relaxation, get some fluids on board, because it is very, very hot in Portimão at the moment. Currently 31 degrees Celsius, and by the time they go racing it's still going to be around about 31 degrees, so track temperature probably is going to be closer to maybe say 45 50 degrees Celsius. So tyre conservation is going to be key during the races. Each of the sprint races this weekend, one today, one tomorrow, will be 25 minutes plus an additional lap for the respective drivers, and then they will be able to venture back home to Brazil, or they go to the location where a certain Ayrton Senna da Silva took his maiden Grand Prix victory in a Lotus Formula 1 car. Of course, Estoril is going to be next on the calendar for the Porsche Carrera Cup sprint side of things, and that will effectively be stage 5.1, I believe. There is the number 33, William Arroyo. Loving the livery on that car. Very distinctive colours that we are seeing. As, well, Arroyo needs to be a bit careful coming out of turn number 4. The back end looked a bit sketchy on the outside curving, but you can just see these drivers are very, very committed. They are running in the previous generation GT3 Cup car, the 991.2, producing from its flat 6 boxer engine 485 brake horsepower, but still make a hell of a noise. So just waiting for the first couple of lap times to come in. So race control have said that car 100, that's Rafael Bernardes, is going to lose his first lap in time qualifying. Track limits, turn 1. So we have a total of 22 Sprint Challenge drivers here this weekend. We've got 8 in the Rookie, 9 in Sport and 5 in Challenge. Arroyo is the first one to cross the line, 1:54.995. And car 33, which is Arroyo. So Fernando Arruda goes up to the top of the time sheets, 1:53.191 as we are coming into the last 10.5 minutes. So it is a fifth. Oh, bit sketchy there on the back end of the braking for Claudio Reina going into Lagos at turn 3. So Lagos, a nearby vicinity, well, about 25 to 30 minutes from the circuit itself. Galaxy I had the pleasure of staying in earlier on this year, but Arruda leads the way, and oh well, track right. Fernando Arruda is going to lose both laps 1 and 2 in time qualifying for track limits at turn 15 at Galp. Now you can run very tight to the inside apex, but you've got to be very careful of your steering input. You want to make sure that the steering is quite neat and concise. Can have another lap time deleted. Bernardez again is going to have lap time number 2 deleted due to the track limits at turn 1. So it is going to be the case of whoever puts their best foot forward. But as I said, now with the lap times being race control are definitely clamping down on track limits, because now it's Daniel Neumann in the number 21, 1:55.156. So these drivers have got to start being, they've got to compromise. You can have a compromise between outright performance and then also how your car's going to react to your inputs, you know, brake and throttle modulation, steering input if you need to back out of something. Arroyo now goes top, 1:50.337, or the number 33. Arroyo currently showing as 5th in the standings, behind Rafa Brocci. But Arroyo in the number 33 doing the best job possible to stay ahead. More track limits being circumvented, and again it's turn 1. Turn 1 is really showcasing that the drivers are pushing. Now with it being, you know, it's the lateral forces, you know, the adhesion, you know, the abrasiveness of the track is not going to be the biggest problem for the drivers. It's about controlling the cars with these big amounts of lateral forces going through the sidewall of the Michelin tyres. Arroyo is going to come across the line again, this time 1:50.751. So that is a nice little bit of consistency, and is ahead of Claudio Reina by 8.5 tenths of a second. Rafael Bernardes up to P3 on a 1:51.309, 2/100ths quicker than Daniel Neumann. Rafa Brocci, Claudio Simeo, Ricardo Zilberman and Fernando Arruda. Well, Arruda yet to have a bona fide non-track limits penalised lap time at the moment. And there's still 6 minutes and 20 to go, just like we had in Carrera Cup. Sprint Challenge will also have a top 10 shootout. There will be 2 separate races for the 2 classes. So Carrera Cup will start their race at 17:40 local time approximately, and then 18:20 that's UTC +1. That'll be race 1 for the Sprint Challenge drivers. So Arroyo trying to really muscle that car around the circuit at the moment. Arroyo still the fastest out there. Very, very careful. And you can see that coming out of turn number 14 at Sagres, there's a little bit of a runoff area there, but that's pretty neat coming through Gal. And at this moment, there's still an opportunity for some drivers to go very, very quickly. Oh, very bad middle sector for Rafael Bernardes. Might have had a drama through sector 2. Was absolutely flying. Did a 34.526 in sector number 1, but then did a 50. Must have been a drama for the driver through sector 2. And that will probably indicate either an off-track or a spin of some description. But Daniel Neumann trying to do his best. He's just put in a personal best in the opening sector. Very soon they'll cross the line to complete sector number 2. They're going to go through the sweeping up and down roller coaster part of the circuit here at turn 9, named after Craig Jones. And you see one of the other drivers going into there. Craig Jones, who was a former world supersport rider. And basically, it's part of there's a statue in tribute to Craig Jones actually representing him on his motorbike after passing the finish line, and it's part of a monument that's already at the point. Craig Jones, who was a British motorcycle racer, he also joined the Paglagar racing team based in Portugal, and yeah, was posthumously named by a corner at the circuit. So 3 minutes to go on this session, and it's the man there, William Arroyo, that leads the way. Oh, I don't believe this. Turn 15, Arroyo's done it again. That is going to be 2 lap times deleted for the number 33. And that's going to tumble him down to around about 4th place, potentially. As race controller said that he's going to lose lap time 5 and 6. Well, he's lost lap time 6 at turn 1. Primera is catching so many people out at the moment. But if I'm completely honest with you, I'm not at all surprised really. But right, number 2, Rocci loses lap 6, track limits. I'm not even going to say what corner, because now it's just, well, actually I can say something different now. William Arroyo's lost lap 6 due to track limits at Torre Vip at turn 5. There's something different to the hymn sheets at this point. So, Rafael Bernardes loses lap time number 6 due to track limits at Torre Vip. A few of the drivers really being caught out at this particular juncture. And you can see the amount of shock absorber. Oh, Bernardes off into the gravel at high speed. Front splitter ripped off and the back end hits the barriers. Oh, that is a big off for Rafael Bernardes. Oh, now is there something on the circuit? Because someone else has just got off as well and kept it on the circuit. That was the number 18, Ricardo Zilberman, and that is drama. Ricardo Zilberman having a backwards moment, but it was Rafael Bernardes that went big speed off at Galp. And that car, oh, look at the back end, it's absolutely destroyed. And Bernardes, well, he might have gotten away with that one, or has he? No. The right rear suspension is an absolute mess, and he's bringing gravel onto the circuit. And he's going to try and see. Now, is there smoke coming up from the right rear? Let's have a look at the replay. Now, this is at over 200 kph. The car gets unsettled. And then he's going to turn it in. Back end is going to let go. Sideways. He's a passenger. It swaps end to end. Splitter gets ripped from the front of the car. And it's travelling at over 80, well, over 100 plus kilometres an hour. Backwards into the barriers. Oh, big scare. But I cannot believe what I'm just... Oh, they do build those Porsches tough, don't they? He was very lucky that was not a steel barrier. That soft foam barrier off of turn 15. Oh, we've got the number 33 beached. Arayo was pushing, and he's beached it. So there is going to be a delay for Sprint Challenge Sport. William Arayo has got into the gravel, and that is now the end of that session. Arayo despite. Now let's have a look. This is number 2. This is Rafa Brocci. Now where? Now I can't make out where William Arayo has beached it. Now that is... Well, could that possibly be off of... Not sure. It's difficult to pinpoint where he is on the circuit, but let's just see. So this is Rafa Brocci. There we go. That's up. Ah, right. There we go. That is going to be at Samsung, turns 7 and 8. So William Arayo, despite taking the top time in the session, so yeah, so big moment for Rafael Bernardes. The team are going to have to repair the car. But he kind of got away with that one. He really did. But there is going to be a clear-up operation there. Going to have to recover William Arayo's car, the number 33. As there is Rafael Bernardes, who brings the car into pit lane. So for rookie at this moment, well, you can see that at this moment in time, William Arayo has the fastest lap time in this session on a 1:50.337. Daniel Neumann 4 tenths behind Claudio Reina, and the very lucky Rafael Bernardes. Rafa Brocci, Fernando Arruda, Claudio Simao, and Ricardo Zilberman rounding out the 8 strong, as we are going to have our sport class up next. 9 drivers in all, and with the 177 of Lucas Locatelli being the current points leader on 84 in this particular side of things. Jose Moraneto, Mario De Lara, and rounds out the top 3 in the Sprint Challenge Sport side of things. we're also going to have the likes of Cecilia Rabelo. She's currently running in the 808 car as the rescue team from the Autódromo do Algarve. A big thank you, muito obrigado, to the team there at the circuit. And, well, you can... there we go. The doors are fanning. It's 31 degrees Celsius here in Portimão, which means that those cockpits are going to be very, very hot indeed. So once the cars get moving, the drivers will be able to get some cold flowing air. Now, obviously, the sunshine is very, very prevalent. It's very hot. It's hitting the circuit hard, and there's hardly any cloud cover up ahead. So here in the Algarve, when you see the sun, you feel it. Believe you me, I know that from experience. But more to the point, it is great to see these cars in action. So, not yet being given the green light, obviously, because of the delay with William Arroyo's car being beached in the gravel off of turn 7 and 8. But it's one of those things in motorsport. But Daniel Neumann in the 21 car. There's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes with these teams as well. I have to give a shout out to one of my good friends who works with logistics and the technical side of the championships, Luc Costa, good friend of mine who I've known through my karting days, works for Porsche Motorsport directly. And it's just great that this series here in Brazil showcasing great talents, young, but irrespective of age, I would say. As you can see, there is a breeze blowing all the C6 Bank sponsor banners on the pit lane as we have green flags waving for the second part of this 4-part qualifying. And now going out will be Sprint Challenge Sport. So the first driver out will be Andrzej Galdzinski in the number 14. Followed by Cecilia Rabelo. Amongst others, George Crispin, Jose Muraneto. Then we got Markinson Marquez, Mateus Roque, Luis Souza, and Mario Delara. And you cannot miss Cecilia Rabelo's livery at all. Very bright pink at the front, but also has made her way up the ladder in motorsport. I think, if I remember correctly, in Brazilian F4 last year. And also, think of it this way, last year, well, in 2023, the Sprint Challenge champion was, funny enough, Antonella Bassani, Antonio Junqueira, and Celio Brasil were the respective Sprint Challenge Sport and Rookie champions last in 2023. Caio Chaves was the Sprint Challenge Rookie champion. Celio Brasil for Sprint Challenge Sport with Miguel Mariotti, who's now running in Carrera Cup. Was last year's Sprint Challenge champion. So Andrei Gadzinski will be the first to go on a push lap, so will Rebello. There is the 177, Lucas Locatelli. Currently leading the Sprint Challenge Sport rankings. And in Sprint Challenge overall, currently running P4 at the moment. So all respective drivers take part in their respective classes, so points will be gathered by drivers. So if you're, say, you're competing in Sprint Challenge Rookie, you will gain point if you get into the point scoring for Sprint Challenge. You will also score points for that. The same can be said for the Sprint Challenge Sport drivers. So Locatelli coming through out of Galp at turn 15. Everyone would have seen on the screens Bernardes's tangle with the barriers. That, I believe, was Daniel Neumann there in the number for the number 21. Right, 444, Marquez loses the lap time due to track limits at turn 4. Sometimes when you see someone like Lucas Locatelli, smooth looks fast. He's heading down the dip into Torre Vip at turn 5. Neatly turns it in. That's a good line coming out of the corner there from the 177. So it's going to be up through in towards what will be Craig Jones as Locatelli comes through. Jose Moraneto goes P6 on his first effort, 1.7 seconds off of Woody Moroyo's lap time of a 150.337. So expect over the next 10 minutes and 20 seconds have a change in the pecking order. Of course, the top 10 overall will go through to the 10-minute shootout. Locatelli, 37.1 in the first sector, 37.7 in sector 2. This is going to be a nice way to start your session. Go across the line. This is going to be the first push lap for Locatelli. Proper push lap. Just did a 156.104 that puts him 14th overall. But puts him 6th in the class. Jose Moraneto, Cecilia Rebello, and then George Crispin ran out the top 3. They're running 6th, 8th and 9th respectively in the respective Sprint Challenge Sport division. So Moraneto, that nearly had echoes of Bernardes going through that final corner. You get a bit aggressive on that curb. And, well, George Crispin goes P2. Jose Moraneto goes P4. Cecilia Rebello now P6. So those are the top 3. And that is Rebello. She's making her way through out of Lagos at turn 3 into the left-hander that goes uphill. And then it's the last over the slight crest that dips down into the tight left-hand hairpin here at Torre Vip. And Moraneto goes purple in the opening sector. You can just see how much anticipation there is. As Locatelli goes top. Lucas Locatelli on his second lap goes in with a 149.807, fastest overall in sector number 2. There is car 14, Gajdzinski, all the way down in 15th position. Needs to make a significant improvement in that bright high-vis yellow car with some like frozen blue metallic accents. There's Locatelli, absolutely flying. Morenetto was it's an overall fastest opening sector. Locatelli really pushing. He's just been in a 34.256. He's got the 77 of Mario De Lara just ahead. And Locatelli will be let through, goes to the outside, and he takes the racing line. That car looking very, very compliant as he heads through turn 7, up the hill, through into 8. And now it's down the dip into Craig Jones, the left-hand upward sweeper here through 9. Carrying the speed through, and it's going to be a big dab on the brakes into Portimão. There's Morenetto, who's within half a second of Locatelli. So Locatelli, purple in sector 2 by the 177. How's Rebello getting on? She's done a personal best in the opening sector, and she is quicker than Morenetto on this particular attempt, but Matthias Rock has gone up into P4 overall. Can Rebello go a little bit quicker in that second sector? Her best effort was a 35.293. She goes down the dip into turn 9, and that's her best second sector yet. 35.094. Now this could, depending on how quick she is through sector 3, could it put her possibly at her pace at the moment? She's pretty much, you could say she's potentially guaranteed a run into the top 10. But the 77 has pulled off. Mario De Lara, possible technical issues with the 77. That will bring out a yellow flag local. As Rebello out of the final corner, the 98 will go hammer and tongs, full throttle towards the start-finish line. P2 for the young lady driver in the 98. And it just goes to show, when you have two young, motivated drivers in the form of Cecilia Rebello and Antonella Bassani in the respective Sprint Challenge and Carrera Cup divisions, you have got some great talent coming through the ranks. Locatelli, however, has gone quicker still. 1:49.059. So Rebello on that particular occasion, she was just under 0.2 slower than her opening sector. She gets through turn 9. And that's a Portimão, which is going to happen very, very shortly. Will she better? A 35.094. Up the crest she goes. 35.072. So, how much time can she take out of her personal best in sector 3? 40.509 was the number 98's last effort. Looks like the 77 of De Lara not going to take any further part in the session, so will miss out more than likely in a top 10 position in the pole position shootout. But Rebello comes through down the hill out of Galp, and well, halts the lap and decides to go back into pit lane. That's a pretty good run for the number 98. 1.021 seconds behind Lucas Locatelli. As careful, don't do that in qualifying. Oh, George Crispim up the inside of Jose Morenetto. That was I'm wondering if that might be investigated by race control, because to be honest with you, I personally feel that George Crispim Oh, he's come to a stop. And, oh, there's damage to the left front of the car. Now, look at this again. Up the inside, Crispin on Moreneto. There's the contact. And that has possibly broken the steering. And that is a red flag. That is going to be a red flag stoppage, I think. Because Moreneto, well, yeah, Crispin, damaged front left alloy. You can see the rim literally scraped off it. Left front. And that has that's brought out a full course yellow, which now will lead to red flags. So red flag with 2 minutes and 38 seconds. And we are quite a way into the session, so that may conclude the session for the sprint challenge. So Mario Delara in the number 77 car. Real shame, because and as I thought, the investigation between cars 45 and 5 are under investigation by race control. So whether that may be a possible penalty. You can see the front end, the front left wheel damaged, tyre off the rim. There's going to be a lot of activity in the pit lane, so they're going to have to recover. Well, there is the car just stricken on the outside of Primera. And I can hear in the background a lot of wheel guns going at the moment, so they may call time on this session. Not had any official word from race control, but good effort there by Cecilia Rebello. So with 2 minutes and 38 seconds on the clock in the session, so we're going to have a look at this again. So George Filho or George Crispin up the inside, that was never going to work. I mean, Jose Mora Neto could have opened up the steering, but I think it's just, it looked like it was an overtake attempt. So that decision will be left to race control and the panel of stewards to decide George Crispin's fate. Now the car currently P3. There is the number 7 of Luis Souza, who is waiting at the end of pit lane. As you can see, the umbrellas are out here at in Portimão, basically because of the fact of you see some of the drivers looking on. Cecilia Rebello, funnily enough, well, she took part in 2 seasons of of F4 Brazil. Firstly with Carrera Sport, and then went on to Bassani Racing, joining Rafaela Ferreira. Right, car 45, Jose Moreneto, has just been excluded, as the decision from race control has just come in, excluded from classification, from qualifying, because of the incident. So they felt that Moreneto was at fault for the incident. Oh, that's a big blow for the 45. Big blow. Nevertheless, it's an incident that could have been avoided. Molinetto currently sitting behind Lucas Locatelli in the Sprint Challenge Sport rankings, but it looks like they are, I think they might have called the session here, because we are seeing on the replays now that, well, Lucas Locatelli is now the overall fastest driver with the 1:49.059. And did a pretty good job there to... Right, okay, so it looks like we are going to get the session back underway. So green flag waves at the end of the pit lane. They have put the time back to just under 5 minutes to go. So these drivers will have a further bite at the cherry, so to speak. So it will be a little bit longer before we get underway with our drivers for Sprint Challenge. But at this point, it is going to be the case of, can the drivers out on circuit make anything from this particular point? Because it's all about getting into that all-important top 10 shootout. At the moment, well, Luis Souza currently P12. Mario Delara will not go through to the top 10. Looks like technical problems for the 77. Gajdzinski is 65 thousandths outside of the top 10. And who is with them at the moment? There's a few other drivers. I think... wondering who it is. It's going to be the well, it's definitely a 4 at the end of it, so there we go. 32 is out on the second as well, Matthias Rock. So can these drivers make the best? They might get, oh dearie me, that was squeaky bum time there for Matthias Rock, losing the back end, nearly under braking. He's decided to abort that lap because you're going to have to put it all on the line for that final push. Now, the drivers will be heading into the final sector of the circuit very shortly, but it is about a case of putting your best foot forward. But Jose Moraneto will be informed of that decision by the team, saying you're starting from the back of the grid. If he says, oh, was it because of the incident with George Crispin, then he may argue that with race control, but you'll have to find out a little bit later on the live coverage here on motorsport.tv. And there will be an opportunity for shakedowns between the Sprint Challenge Brazil and the first of the 2 races. And live coverage of this afternoon's action will start here on motorsport.tv at 5:25 p.m. At UTC +1 time, so effectively same time as Portugal, which is, if you are in the UK, exactly the same as BST. There's just 35 seconds on the timer left to go. But can these drivers make the best of it? It is going to be nip and tuck as to what happens here. As Luis Souza, 10th down on his best opening sector. Very shortly he's going to cross the timing beam to complete sector number 2. He's got to be quicker than a 30, but he's fractionally off. He's gained a little bit of time, but Andrzej Gajdzinski does not look like he's going to improve. The checkered flag is out for the session, and the 3 drivers, including the number 32 of Mateus Rock, will be told, well, now it's a case of you don't need to worry. Keep that car on in one piece, out on circuit. But will Luis Souza do anything coming out of the final corner at Gal? Again, a bit too hungry on the curves. A bit too hungry on the curves, but not as hungry as what Rafael Bernardes was a little bit earlier on. Goes across the line. Souza goes P8. Oh, what a lap there by the number 7. And he put in a personal best in his final sector. Gajdzinski will stay 12th, will not advance to the top 10 shootout later on. Well, with that being said and done, that now means that Andrzej Gajdzinski will not progress to the next session. There's Carlos Chavez in the number 54, waiting for his turn to get out on the circuit. Starts up the... Oh, that's a lovely sound on that flat 6 boxer engine. He's fired up, he's ready. But Gajdzinski will not. So, out of the Sprint Challenge Sport drivers, I'm going to have to say goodbye to Andrzej Gajdzinski, Mario Delara, and of course the now excluded from the session, Jose Moraneto. So, at the moment, going through to the top 10 shootout, but we've still got the Carrera drivers to come through. Lucas Locatelli, Cecilia Rebello, George Crispin. Hopefully, if they can get that left front or right front sorted out, or left front sorted out in time. If there's upright suspension damage, possibly. So, Lucas Locatelli leading the way. Already chomping at the bit is going to be the number 54 of Carlos Chavez. Who currently leads the standings on 137 points. His nearest rival out in this session will be Geração Campos. But now, Lucas Locatelli is the fastest overall driver in this qualifying for Porsche Sprint Challenge Brasil. The 1:49.059. The only driver to dip under 1 minute and 50. The closest driver behind him, Cecilia Rebello in the number 98 car. So even though Jose Moraneto got a 150.277, his incident with George Crispin unfortunately has disqualified the number 45 from the session. That is going to hurt big time. But Locatelli doing exactly what he needed to do in that session. Loving the fact that we have two of the most recent generations of the Porsche Carrera Cup GT3 car. Of course, the Porsche 911 has been around for a very, very long time indeed, and it continues to provide, well, this market itself, one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting one make series platform. There you have it. Race Direction have said that because of the incident with car number 5, car 45 is excluded from qualifying. So, coming into stage 4 of the season for the Porsche Sprint Challenge Brasil. This man here, Carlos Chavez, leads the way on 137 points. Geração Campos on 122. Leonardo Herman in P3. Lucas Locatelli, who also leads the Sprint Challenge Sports rankings, rounds out the top 4 ahead of Sara Cleite in the number 66. And Caio Castro in the number 22 rounds out the top 6 in the Sprint Challenge rankings overall. So these 5 drivers are here. So they also have 15 minutes to maximise their opportunity of a chance of going through into the top 10. So at the moment, the top 10 drivers in the progression zone, as I'm going to call it: Lucas Locatelli, Cecilia Rebello, George Crispin, William Arroyo, the fastest of the Sprint Challenge rookie drivers, Mateus Roque, Daniel Neumann, Claudio Reina, Luis Souza, Rafael Bernardes, and also Marconson Marquez are the top 10 so far that have gone through. With these 5 drivers here, you can definitely expect a change in the pecking order. As you can hear, these flat 6 boxer engines roar around this 4.592 kilometer anti-clockwise 15-turn circuit. It's hosted the Portuguese Grand Prix in 2020 and 2021, the World Endurance Championship 6 Hours of Portimão 2021 and 2023. In the latter year, also hosted the TCR World Tour, the Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters in 2022, the WTCC Race of Portugal in 2010, 2012, FIA GT in 2009, GT2 European Series, and the A1 Grand Prix World Cup of Motorsport, as it was known back in 2009, but has hosted this series back in 2012 and 2013. Here's the number 22 of Caio Castro going into Primera. Very, very careful how you navigate that. So, Chavez is just coming with a 153.747. But it is about how drivers respond. Geração Campos in the 82 has just got in with a 158.215. So, at the moment, Chavez 4.7 seconds off of provisional top spot. Geração Campos 9.2 seconds off top spot. And they are currently running 16th and 18th respectively. Leonardo Herman 15.4 seconds off. So there is plenty of time that these drivers will find over the next 10 minutes. So we're a third of the way through the session. After this, we'll have the top 10 Sadaklet goes P2. Oh, great work there by the 66, straight away up into second position. So that now eliminates Marcus and Marquez from the top 10 shootout. Go Chavez has just put in a 34.945 in sector number 2. Where can the current points leader in Sprint Challenge Brazil go? He's going to come out of turn 15, down the hill through Galp, does not touch the curving on the inside. Nice and clean on the exit of Galp. Over the crest, across the line goes Chavez and beats Sadakleita, and that now eliminates Rafael Bernardes. So the team there will breathe a little bit of sigh of relief. Geração Campos now responds and goes quicker than Chavez for the top honour in this session, the number 82. Doing a great job there. Puts it in at a 149.314. So great job there. And of course, for those that know the program Acelerados, hosted by certain Rubens Barrichello, two-time Stock Car Pro Series champion, also an extensive career in Formula 1, over 300 Grand Prix started, but good to see Geração Campos really getting his elbows out here. Acelerados based at the Velocita circuit. Oh, right. Car 22, Caio Castro, has lost first and second lap times in qualifying due to track limits at Galp at turn 15 because of Campos. Has just gone purple in sector 1, personal best in sector 2. This looks like it's going to be a really, really good lap here for Geração Campos in the 82 car. So it's now going to be, oh, bit of a switch there for Geração Campos. Oh, the front end snaked and then the back ends went snaky in sympathy. He's going to have lost a little bit of time there as Geração Campos. But we're past the halfway point in the session. And Campos steals himself across the line. Does he improve? Yes, on lap time. 87 thousandths. If he did not have that wiggle in that final sector, which cost him nearly 0.3 of a second, Geração Campos, I can tell you this now, would have been in the 148s. Probably a 148.8. The only person that he's battling, apart from the stopwatch, is himself. His opening sector in this lap, quite a considerable amount slower, 35.2 rather than the low 34.0. But it is going to be the battle of Caio Chavez, who goes back in with a 1 minute 49.515. Caio Castro there looking to try and improve. Personal best in sector 2. Slower by about 0.4. Well, make that 3.5 tenths in the opening sector. Castro is very shortly going to come in as Sagres and then downhill through Galp. Turn number 15. So, can Caio Castro improve and go into the top 10? 21st at the moment. Across the line and goes P11. It's just about building these laps, Caio Castro is outside of the top 10 by 1.25 tenths of a second. So this is going to be quite crucial now. What happens with the 22? Now, can Caio Chavez get through? Caio Castro, my apologies, get through into the top 10 shootout. There is 5 minutes remaining, so there is time maybe for 3 laps at a push. 34.7, 3.6. Not an improvement in his opening sector, but sector 2 was when Castro really started bringing up the ante. A tenth slower than his best sector 2 on this particular lap. So Castro still has important time to find. So now it's going to be the run out of Sagres. And at the moment, Daniel Neumann is on the bubble. He's in the drop zone. Can Castro improve over this final sector? Let's find out. Across the line. No. No, Castro does not improve on that lap. Stays 11th. There might be a little air of frustration creeping in. There's the all chrome number 23 of Leonardo Herrmann. Loving that livery. It's kind of like something that Yanni Moyes would put on Yanni Moyes, the famed car rapper, who's now moved out of the rapping business with Yanni Moyes' closure on certain parts of the business after 2 decades. But that's something you wouldn't see amiss on a Premier League footballer's car in the United Kingdom. But Leonardo Herrmann, currently P4 at the moment, has done enough to get through. So other drivers that have been eliminated, Luis Souza, Claudio Reina are also out. Lucas Locatelli now starting to get himself ready for the top 10 shootout coming up next. And that will conclude the qualifying for stage 4 of the season here for the 20th anniversary of the C6 Bank Porsche Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge Brasil at the Autódromo Internacional do Algarve in Portugal, in the southern part of the country, amidst this wonderful region in the Algarve. Castro he's not improved. Well, he's not that far off, but can he hook up sector 3? Castro, does he improve? Yes! P10. Finally, after 3 laps of trying, Caio Castro knocks Daniel Neumann out of the top 10 shootout. And it was not by much, 68 thousandths of a second. There's Caio Chavez, 3rd overall, but Lucas Locatelli, fastest driver. It was all about not pushing the car too hard. It was more a case of get the car through to the top 10. That is exactly what the number 54 needed and wanted thereof. So we still have another minute to go. Now, can Castro get himself a little bit further up the order in this session? So, personal best in sector 2. Castro will want to make sure that he feels a little bit more comfortable. Now goes through down into Galp for what could be the penultimate time. Did not run wide coming out of turn 15. That was nice. 2 wheels still within track limits. Castro across the line. Stays 10th. So looks like a lot of the drivers have pitted, so Yeah, Castro still out there. And everyone else has decided, well, that's it. I'm going to take a bit of a breather, get some fluids down my neck. So Lucas Locatelli, still the fastest driver. There is Cecilia Rabello. Up until the Sprint Challenge drivers got into qualifying, she was second on the road. I'm wondering if we might have a look at George Crispin, but 82 Gerson Campos on the ragged edge here in qualifying. But the thing is, who is going to be the favourite? It is going to be a very, very close top 10, if I'm completely honest here. Top 10 covered by 1.609 seconds. Daniel Norman out by 68,000. So going through into the top 10 shootout will be Lucas Locatelli, Gerson Campos, Caio Chavez, Leonardo Herman, Saraclete, Cecilia Rabello, George Crispin, if that car has been prepared. William Arroyo, Matias Roque and Caio Castro making it in by a slither of the rear wing. But you have to say that this series is nothing if not competitive. As here are the replay images you see on your screens. But despite the very, very hot weather temperatures in Portimão now, I think have gone a little bit higher than I thought. So 32 degrees Celsius at Portimão. There has been, well, wind gusts are around 14 miles an hour. Due to be cloudy at about 4 p.m. this afternoon local time. So the gusts 14 miles an hour in a... the wind is 7 miles an hour, gusts of 17. The wind is blowing to the northwest at the minute. As the final bits of preparation are getting underway, we are shortly going to get under Slaughter's orders with our 10-minute top 10 pole position shootout here for Sprint Challenge Brazil Stage 4 for races 1 and 2. As you can see, new Michelin tyres going on. Of course, Michelin and Porsche have been partners, brothers in arms, so to speak, for a very, very long time. This guy Castro talking with the team, probably with the race engineer, saying, right, okay, Caio, wasn't the best session, but you got to go and push. Little discussion there for Lucas Locatelli and Cecilia Rabello's wanting to be the first one on the track, and she's already opened the door to start fanning it. It doesn't matter who you are as a racing driver, hot conditions, these cockpits will probably be around about 50, 55 degrees Celsius at least. You've got the engine in the back end of the car. They'll have an air vent coming into the vehicle. Some setups nowadays in the more modern day cars will have an air hose actually connecting directly to the top of the race driver's helmet, so putting in filtered cold air. But the drivers will compete in 2 25-minute plus an additional lap sprint races. One today, one tomorrow, which you can catch all the action here live on motorsport.tv in the very capable hands of Jake Sanson. But it is now going to be the case of when that green flag waves at the end of the pit lane, will be go. As there is a announcement in the paddock. I can hear by the tannoy system just blasting out through the speakers. Sounds like there are also some couple of interviews taking place down in the pit lane area, but the green flag waves. We're underway for Porsche Sprint Challenge Brasil qualifying. It's time for the top 10 shootout as the number 98 of Cecilia Rebello leads the field out of pit lane, followed by Matthias Rock. There's Gerson Campos in the number 82. So 10 minutes to find out who will be our fastest driver overall. William Arroyo, who made it through as the only rookie driver, a bit like Silvio Mostarini in the Carrera Cup. Moristoni, my apologies. But it is now a case of getting these cars up to temperature. And you can hear the thunderous roars of those naturally aspirated flat six V8s pushing out 485 brake horsepower. Of course, we do have the 991.1, but that only makes an appearance on the Sprint Trophy, which will be back in action for their penultimate round of the season, and that will be at Interlagos on the 2nd and 3rd of August. That will effectively be stage 5.1. Then we go to Estoril for stage 6. That'll be for Porsche Carrera Cup and Sports, the Sprint Challenge Brasil. Sprint, 28th to the 29th of August, 31st of August, so pretty much everything in a compacted weekend. Then the series takes a little bit of a breather up until the final round of the Sprint series at the Autódromo José Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo. 8th and 9th of November for the Sprint finale, and the 22nd of November for the Endurance finale. So Cecilia Rebello getting on with the business at hand in the number 98. Very much the case like we saw with Antonella Bassani in the Carrera Cup. There is Lucas Locatelli. So quite interesting, 50% of the drivers in this qualifying session made up of the Sprint Challenge drivers. 40% of it made up by the next class, which will be Sprint Challenge Sport, and then of course the only driver to make it in, William Arroyo. Cecilia Rebello goes purple in sectors 1 and 2. So we're going to see our first lap time come in very, very shortly. So no complete lap time on the board just yet until now. Cecilia Rebello, 1:51.606. There's Andrzej Gajdzinski discussing with his team what problems he had in the previous qualifying session, which meant he did not go through. So Lucas Locatelli takes the first purple sector, takes the purple sector away from Cecilia Rebello, who instantly responds and goes in with a 34.253.
Leonardo Herman 157.0, Matthias Rock 157.5, Gerson Campos 158.9, and it is going to be very, very close indeed as Sadak Leita goes top of the time sheets, but Cecilia Rebello is absolutely flying in the number 98. She's just gone in and gone over 6/10 quicker in the opening set in the second sector. Leonardo Herman responds with a purple sector of his own in sector 1. So this is going to be a very, very fast, rapid-fire qualifying session. Sadak Leita with the 150.504. We've got 4 minutes on the timer. And Lucas Locatelli, 149.480. The 177 does it again. And now puts, well, Cecilia Rebello, is she going to go quicker than him? Let's find out. She does! 149.456 for the number 98. Oh, we've got a fight on our hands for this pole position. We're coming towards the final third of it. And Cecilia Rebello, the lady that ran with Cavallero Sports and Basini Racing over the last 2 years in the BRB Brazil Formula F4 Brazilian Championship. This time, not as quick in the opening sector, 34.5 for the young driver. But she's been beaten by nearly 0.3 of a second. Leonardo Herman, but it's Sadak Leita that's also going really quickly around the circuit. Currently sitting in P5. Looks like George Crispin and William Arroyo might be sitting this session out. Crispin with damage, Arroyo was beached. Sadak Leita, is that going to be improvement? Yes it is. 148.754 for the number 66. Gerson Campos is trying to improve. But at the moment, it is William Arroyo on pole for Sprint Challenge Rookie. For Sport, at the moment, it could be Cecilia Rebello, but that depends on Lucas Locatelli. Now, Rebello, she's only had 2 pole positions in her entire racing career in cars so far. But this would be a real boost of confidence to the young driver. Oh, well, what's going on here? Oh, there's a problem. Caio Chavez is not going to set a lap time. Driver ran away from the car. Now, was there something inside the cockpit? Now, if there was they've got the car on the air jacks. So that is only going to mean that we're going to have 7 drivers to set a lap time. Sadak Leita not improving on this lap time. Cecilia Rebello, however, is. Lucas Locatelli is not. Oh! Matheus Roque has lost it. Now, is that car going to restart? If it doesn't, that could call the session early. Lucas Locatelli goes purple through sector 2. So what has happened? Oh, Matheus Roque is going to turn it in. Oh, the back end steps out on its own. Oh, that would be going up over towards Samsung and Craig Jones. Oh, dearie me. Here's the number 22. Caio Castro can really do with an improvement, goes P6. The time is fast running out. Oh, no. That's 23. That's Leonardo Herman who spun it, and that will be at Torre VIP. At turn 5, I'm sure. It is the case. Oh, these temperatures are not conducive when drivers are starting to really push hard. Cecilia Rebello has crossed the line. She might have an opportunity to well, Leonardo Herman is going to have to bring that car into pit lane. If he spun it, flat spots will definitely be vibrating through the steering wheel. as we hit 0 on the timer. Lucas Locatelli, at the moment, is doing what he can. He's coming down to Torivit now, but 2.2 seconds down in the opening sector. I think he's called it. Yeah, that's going to be it for Lucas Locatelli. He is not going to get pole position in Porsche Sprint Challenge Sport. That is going to go to Cecilia Rebello. She's just put in a personal best in sector. Rebello can still improve. Rebello can still improve here. So could the 22 of Castro. Castro has not improved on either the opening 2 sectors of this, what looks to be his final push lap in qualifying. Cecilia Rebello, less than a 10th off personal best in sector 2. But this is going to put her in a really good place for the first race later on today, due to take place at about 6:20 local time. As it looks like Caio Chavez is going to bring it into pit lane. Now, does Cecilia Rebello want to push for another lap? As in, this will be her last lap here. The checkered flag waves. Third sector was the longest out of all 3. Geração Campos won't improve beyond P5. Caio Castro P6, Mateus Roque 7th. But Saraglete in the 66 is the driver that at the end of this session, as Cecilia Rebello pulls into pit lane, that is it. Saraglete in the 66 takes overall pole position for Sprint Challenge Brazil, round 4, race number 1, and does it by a country mile. His lap time was a 1:48.754. Leonardo Herman, 0.371 of a second behind in P2. And muito parabéns to Cecilia Rebello for, I think, might be a maiden pole position in Porsche Sprint Challenge Sport Brazil for the number 98. And she beat to that pole position a man who was quicker than her in their stage, the first set of qualification for Sprint Challenge Sport. Well, what can you say about qualifying here at Portimão for stage 4 of the championship? Both the C6 Bank Porsche Carrera Cup Brasil and the C6 Bank Sprint Challenge Brazil here in the Algarve. Saraglete takes first blood here in Portugal, and what's more, he is going to lead an all Sprint Challenge front row. Cecilia Rebello takes pole position in the sport category by just over 0.12 of a second ahead of championship leader Lucas Locatelli. Geração Campos, Caio Castro ran at the top 6, with Mateus Roque rounding out the order. Well, that's it for time qualifying. Join Jake Sanson at 17:25 British Summer Time later on today as we get set and ready for round 4, races 1 for both Sprint Challenge and Carrera Cup. Until then, muito obrigado and adeus.